Welcome to our monthly trick videos where your dog can learn one trick a month. This trick is great for strengthening your dog's core muscles. The longer they can sit pretty, the stronger they are. It's also a fun trick to show off in front of friends. Let's get started. Teaching your dog to really know a trick takes multiple practice sessions. So make sure that you're patient and you can pause the video whenever you need to work on one section at a time. You want to stop the training exercise right when your dog is having the most fun. So right before they get mentally too tired and stop wanting to work with you. If you stop right when they're having fun, this will make your dog eager and wanting to come back for more next time. So the first part of Sit Pretty is lowering them into the position. Because your dog needs muscle to do this trick, it will just take time regardless of how smart your dog is and how quickly they pick up on it. You can do this for short periods of time throughout the day, every day, and that will be the best for helping your dog just build up those core muscles. So you'll start with a treat over their head and click as soon as their feet come off the ground. Good boy. If you can, you want to try to feed them when they're up in the position. A lot of times at the beginning, your dog can't hold it for that long, so they'll just fall back down, and that's fine. But as they get stronger. Good boy. And you notice how he's bracing his feet against my leg to kind of help him stay up. That's totally fine at the beginning. Eventually though, you'll want to fade that out pretty quickly so they don't think that's the trick. So just try to have them sit a little farther away from you next time so that they aren't even able to do that. Good. You're trying to time your click when they're up in the air with their front feet up in the air. So if they fall over after you click, that's totally fine. But like if you wait to click until they've already fallen over, then next time you'll want to try clicking even sooner. So almost anticipate it if your dog falls over right away. Like put your treat up there and click as soon as your dog lifts their front paws up. Good boy. Good. 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 And see how his back's not completely straight? That's completely fine. You'll just click for any front feet off the ground at this point. If your dog can't do 2 feet off and they're having trouble, you can click for just 1 foot off. Or even just any like straightening of the spine and trying to sit up. Good boy. Good boy. Depending on how in shape your dog is and also just the breed of dog, this trick can be really hard for some dogs to get those core muscles up. It can take a week or 2 or months for some breeds. We're going to switch to Allie now while Flint keeps strengthening his abs. Once your dog can sit pretty with the treat in your hand, you'll move to doing it without the treat, but still with your hand right in front of their nose, kind of helping them get in. Good girl. Get into that position. So, good girl. And then as they get that, you'll slowly raise your hand up till it's a little signal above their head. So you'll do it just like a few inches high. Good girl. And then a few inches higher. After they've get in the position, you can kind of raise your hand up to where you want it to be so they get used to looking at where you want the cue to be. Another thing is that the clicker is ending the exercise at this point. So she has to hold her sit pretty until I click. Once you aren't going to use the clicker, you need another word that means she can be done holding your sit pretty. You'll just use a word that means release or done. A lot of people use okay, all done, break, release. Any word that you think of. People use this for ending stays as well. Any exercise where they need to hold it for a duration and then you need to tell them that it's okay to be done, that's what the word you'll use. So you can also start to use that word along with your click. Break. Good girl. Break. So you'll give the hand signal and say break when you click. You can start to do this as soon as you're not using treats anymore. You can also use it instead of the click. Break. Good girl. You notice that she didn't finish the exercise right away as soon as she would if I had clicked. But eventually she'll start to realize that break means she can be done. Break. Good girl. Break. Good girl. Break. At this point, don't reward for ones that are sloppy. So she didn't sit as straight as I wanted her to on that last one, so I just asked for it again. And then the next time she straightened up. Another thing you'll want to practice with the hand signal is once you give your cue, she needs to hold it until you say break. So that includes giving your hand signal, then letting your hand signal drop. You'll practice that by giving your hand signal, moving your hand, break. And then before they jump down on their own because you're moving your hand down, you say break and click. This is also how you'll train them being able to sit pretty while you're moving around or walking away while they're doing their sit pretty. So you'll give your hand signal, take a slightest movement away and say break and click before they get down. And if they get down, you'll just do it again and say it even faster or do less movement, like just move your body slightly. Yes, good girl. Good girl. And you notice how I'm just making it a little easier? When I'm moving my body away, I'm leaving my hand up there longer, so I'm not bringing my hand down. You can practice these two things separately. So like when you move, you can leave your hand up, and as they get better at letting your hand drop and still staying in a sit pretty, you can drop and then move as well. Yes, good girl. As I'm working on the distractions, you notice I'm not saying break along with my click. You can still do that if you want. If it's too much to think about, you can definitely stop and work on one piece at a time. Because the click means the same thing as the break, you can do them together or either or. So your next step is to add the vocal command. To add the vocal command, you'll just say your cue, whatever you want to use, and wait 1 to 2 seconds, and then give your hand signal. At this point, they don't know what your vocal cue means, so there's no need to repeat it if they don't do it. Just give your hand signal a few seconds later. Sit pretty. Good girl. And they might try something like how she did, where they are thinking that's what you want them to do, but they aren't able to do it completely. You just ignore that and give the hand signal in a few seconds. Sit pretty. Good girl. She's already practiced this a bit, so she is showing signs of kind of wanting to do it on my vocal command. When you first start this, usually your dog has no clue what the vocal command means and won't even try anything. But as you start to progress, the trying is the beginning of them actually doing it. Sit pretty. Yeah, good. Just my good girl. Sit pretty. Yes, good. Sit pretty. Yes, good girl. Sit pretty. Oh, nice. Good girl. Yes, yes. That was really good. Yeah, good girl. Once they do it on your vocal command, make sure to make a big deal, give lots of treats, and then they'll want to do that one again. Sit pretty. Yes! Good girl! Good girl. Good girl. Oh, yes. Sit pretty. Good. Good girl. So you see how she didn't do it that third time, but that's pretty normal to do it a few times and then not be able to again and just fluctuate back and forth for a while. Sit pretty. Yes, good girl. You want to try to end on a good one where they sit pretty on your words if that's what they've been able to do. But if you can't, then you'll just try next time to end a little sooner. Once your dog can do it on vocal command only, your dog knows the trick. Right! You can ask for them with a hand signal or with a voice command now. The next step to proofing it is to add in distractions. This first game we're going to teach is called Weird Words. This game will teach them that the only time they do this trick is when you say your command. They learn to ignore other words and only listen for your command. They won't do the cycle of, here's all the tricks I've ever learned when you're holding a treat. So the basis of this game is you will say a word that doesn't mean sit pretty, and if they sit pretty, you won't reward. If they don't sit pretty, you can go on to say your sit pretty command and then click and reward them. Carpet. Sit pretty. Yes! Good girl! Flip-flops. Sit. Trailer. Sit pretty. Yes! Good girl! Good girl, yes! Good girl. Red. Sit pretty. Yes! Good girl! Good girl! Good girl! So you notice that the first few times she kind of sat up just a little bit when I said the weird words. And if she doesn't do it all the way, but just kind of half-heartedly does it, go ahead and ignore them. But if they do it enough that it's pretty much a sit pretty, then you kind of just walk into them and have them get up and then start over with your weird word. If they stop doing the sit pretty when you say sit pretty, because now they're all confused, you'll just go back to only saying sit pretty and practice that for a little while till they can do it again. Tissue paper. Sit pretty. Sit pretty. Sit pretty. Good. Yes. Good girl. Just a good girl. Just a good girl. Rug. Sit pretty. Good girl! Good girl! And then once your dog can do one weird word, you just move on to 2 and then 3. Doorknob. Gate. Sit pretty. Yes! Good girl! Fishing. Rod. Snow. Sit pretty. Yes! Yeah! Daddy's a good girl! What a good girl you are! And once your dog can do 3 weird words, you'll mix them all up. So you'll go from anywhere from 0 weird words to 3 weird words. So it'll look like this. Green. Yellow. Banana. Sit pretty. Yes! Good! Good girl. Get it. Get it. Sit pretty. Whoops. Come here. Sit pretty. Yes. Good girl. Carpet. Ranch. Sit pretty. Sit pretty. Sit pretty. Yeah, good girl. Good girl. Good girl. If they all kind of confused like that and stop sitting pretty, one thing you can also try is to just go back to saying sit pretty, but also give them time to think. So just wait a little bit, let them think and forget what you've done for a little bit, and then just go back to saying sit pretty. And then a lot of times they'll remember what they're doing. Sit pretty. Yes. Good girl. Yeah, good girl. Oh, good girl. Our next distraction is people distractions. People can be really distracting to your dog, so it's good to practice where you can control the level of distraction that the other person is doing. You can start with just having the person stand there and be quiet near you and just be in your area. And if that's not distracting enough, they can start to talk and clap and make noises such as good dog, good puppy, and cheer the dog on. Whenever you try it twice and your dog can't do it with that distraction, either make the distraction less or go back a level. So if you were trying vocal command, go back to vocal command with a hand signal. If your dog won't even engage with you because the distraction is too distracting, just make the distraction go farther away or you move farther away from the distraction and have them be less distracting if possible. You want to do this with as many different people as you can get to do it with you. So family members and friends, all the way to strangers and people you meet at the park and on the street. Anyone willing to do what you say and be a distraction is great. Sit pretty. Good girl. Yes. Sit pretty. pretty. Sit pretty.
Puppy.
Good girl.
You're such a smart puppy. Woo!
Sit pretty. Oh, nice. Nice.
Yay.
Good girl.
Hi, puppy. I just love dogs. Yay.
Sit pretty.
Smart doggies. You're such a smart doggy.
Sit pretty. Yeah. Good girl. Good girl. Come and get it.
Oh, look at the cute puppy. Hi, puppy. Hi, puppy.
Come here. Sit pretty.
Puppy.
Good girl. Good girl. Your distraction can hold treats, but make sure that they're responsible enough that they never give your dog the treats. Because you don't want your dog to actually get rewarded from going to the distraction. They can use the treats to distract them. But your dog needs to learn that when they go over to the distraction, they'll never get treats from them. That they should come back to you to get the treats.
Want some tasty treats? Want some tasty treats?
Allie. Come here. Allie. Come here. Good girl. Sit pretty. Good. Yes. Good girl. Good girl.
Hey. Oh, you want some treats? Want some treats?
Allie. Good girl. Sit pretty. Oh, you missed it. Sit pretty. Good girl. Good girl. Allie. Good girl. Sit pretty. Yes. Good girl. Don't be discouraged if your dog keeps going back to the person distraction, especially as you start to make it harder and harder. Because they're also learning that when they go to the person, they're not getting what they want. They'll keep trying and trying to get treats from that person, or they'll keep trying and trying to get pets and love, but the person will ignore them and not give them what they want. And so they'll learn that eventually if they come back to their owner will give them the treats, or whoever's working with them will give them commands and treats. And the more they do this type of distraction, the better they'll be. Allie's already done this type of distraction with other commands, so she has a pretty good idea a person standing there with treats is trying to get her away from actually working. Our next distraction is environmental distractions. So this is where you would go to new places such as the park or out to stores that allow your dogs to go. Dogs don't generalize very well, so when you do go out to new places for the first time, a lot of times you'll have to go all the way back to teaching them the trick from the beginning. It'll go faster because your dog has already learned it at home. You'll probably only have to do a few repeats of lowering them with the hand signal, a few repeats of voice command and hand signal, and then you'll be on to voice command again. That's one reason why environmental distractions are so important, is because it's very hard for your dog to realize that they already know this trick when they're in a new place. So the more new places you can do, the easier for them to understand that they do know it when you come to a place that they've never trained at before. If your dog won't even engage with you, try waiting a bit and seeing if just being in the environment for 10 to 20 minutes will make it less distracting, and then they may be able to engage and work with you. Also, watch our motivation video to learn how to increase the value of your treats so that they want them more than the environment. Sit pretty. Yes. Good girl. Sit pretty. Good girl. Sit pretty. Yes. Good girl. Now you have a fun trick that you can use to exercise and stretch your dog, or to just show off. Subscribe for a monthly trick video that you can use to teach your dog. Also watch our other weekly training, educational, and fun videos. And remember, dogs do learn because their owners can be trained.